Hi, everybody. I am Darla Reborn, and I'm still encouraging independent thought and challenging popular opinion. I want to share some of my insights. A thought came to me a few months back, and it was just this: you have always existed. And when I thought about that, it hit me like a ton of bricks because all life originates from something prior to it. Um, Often religions have come to personify God. You know, you have a lot of people refer to God as him. But even the Bible says that God is not a man, that God is a spirit. I'm going to come back to that word in this video later on. But the idea is that we originate from this life source, and it is the life source that provides life to everything that we can see that's living, from animals, plants, and human beings. We all possess this life force. Now, once again, going back to the whole idea that you have always existed, in the physical sense, in the sense of your bones, your genes, your makeup, everything that's inside of you existed in your mom and dad, in her mom and dad, and his mom and dad, going back to the first human being. Now, obviously, everyone has made it and connected. All of humanity is interconnected in some way or another. Now, scientists have proved that all life originates from the motherland, going back however long. And so physically, in a physical sense, having to do with your body, your genes, why you look the way you look, why you have tendencies that you do, the diseases that are known or are common in your genetic code have to do with the people who have preceded you, right? And that's just in a physical sense, because we are not our bodies. What we look like on the outside is not who we are. And people get caught up in the physical so much, and they want to make it such a deep thing. But think about this for a second. Think about people who've been in very, very serious car accidents and they're on life support, or someone who is paralyzed. Are they gone? Is who they are their physical body? Is who we are our physical body? No. Who we are is about how we think and how we feel, how we, the principles that guide our lives, the spirit behind the eyes. You know, um, there's that saying that talks about you can see, the eyes are the window to the soul. And that's very true. There's that life force is visible when you look at someone in the eyes. You can see what a person is feeling, and they can cover up a lot with their voice and with their body language sometimes, because even body language will reveal how you really feel, where you're really at. But the eyes, that's one thing that really lets you know where someone is. And so anyway, all of us have this life force within us, and like I said, all human life has it. We're not our bodies. But I just mentioned the whole tying back to prior, to those who came before you, because everything inside of you has come from the former, has come from those before you. And so it almost makes me think of how a lot of religious and spiritual traditions in certain cultures, like Africa and Native American spiritual traditions, of honoring and recognizing one's ancestors, those who have come before you. Because if you think about it in the sense that you were present in your mother's being and in your father's being in one way or another before they came together to make you, the things that make you who you are were present in your parents and in your grand and greats and all of that. So in that sense, you were present prior to your physical being here, in a way that we can see. But once again, that's in a physical sense. We haven't even dealt with the spiritual sense. The spiritual sense of who you are, or spirit. And the word spirit originates from the word spiritus, which is a Latin word that means breath, right? So, and once again, going back to some of these African traditions, and even in the Bible says that your spirit upon death returns to God. Now, a lot of, and that word broken down means breath, right? But in a metaphysical sense, your spirit represents your consciousness. What makes you human? What makes you not human, but a being? What makes you personified? What gives you the meat? What makes you more than just a physical frame? There's a soul inside, and there is dreams and visions and hopes and feelings and emotions and expression and unique characteristics. That is what the spirit is. And so that's what's vibrant inside of you. As I'm thinking about this, I want to say this. My husband and I had a dog, and her name was Rocky, and she died a few years back. I remember going outside and seeing in my peripheral her lying on the ground. And when I looked at her, her eyes were not completely shut. But it was very clear to me the moment I looked at her that she was gone. That the life force that makes her who she is was gone, and she was just a shell at that point. And it really hit that home to me, seeing her go from living to having transition, and seeing that that life force had been gone. We've already dealt with the physical bones and the meat that make you who you are on a physical sense. But in a spiritual sense, the things that make up who you are eternal. If the life force that is behind your eyes returns to the ultimate life force upon your death, whatever life force that's inside of you has always existed, because it's a portion of the overall life force that is in existence. So, in essence, who you are, what makes you who you are, has always existed. So the whole concept of a beginning of your life is very, very difficult to categorize. It's very, very difficult to put a pin in that. The beginning of your existence. Because it literally is a domino effect upon those who came before you. So who ultimately, how can you ultimately determine the beginning of human life? It's very, very difficult, because everything that makes us who we are was present in the universe prior to our existence. We're literally made up of the same stuff as stars. Like, literally what makes us is in the earth. What nourishes us comes out of the earth. We are the stuff of the earth. And that's in a physical sense. But in a spiritual sense, we come from the great beyond. We come from the great life force. And it's very, very important to understand what that means about who you are and about who I am. It's much, much bigger than we can possibly imagine. That's why it's important to be still. That's why it's important to get quiet. And it's so ironic that the word spirit means breath, because it's something about when you take deep breaths, when you pause and you think, and you get, or when you really don't even focus on thinking, but when you get still and you just breathe, how it centers you. If you're in a stressful moment, if you're dealing with a difficult work project that's frustrating the hell out of you, stop and just breathe. Just breathe. One of the most stressful, anxiety-ridden times in a woman's life is when she gives birth. And one of the most important things you could do during that time is breathe. It has a way of just, like I said, centering you, bringing you to a sense of calm and peace. You know what? As hard as this is, you know what? With a really good breath, I can do this. I can really get through this. If you are in a workout, a difficult workout, sometimes when you're in pain, when you're afraid, you may not realize it, but you're holding your breath. You're just holding it in. You're just sucking it in. And when you just breathe, when you just release the tension that's in your body, when you just release it through your mouth, through your nose, you find that, you know what, I can get through this last 5 push-ups or this last mile run or whatever is left in your workout or whatever is left in your day, whatever you're dealing with. You have what it takes to deal and get through it. But you have to be connected to yourself. And a lot of people make it seem like this is some kind of weird. No, no, no. It's very, very simple. And this is why religions that incorporate physical health, understanding of the earth and in nature, it is directly tied into how you feel as an individual. There are herbs. There are things that when you steam them, just the aroma of it gives you a sense of calm and wholeness. That there are things that if you're sick that you can eat or that you can put into an oil or you can break down and you can burn it, or there's incense. There's all kinds of things that you can do. And so that's why it's important to understand how things work and how things impact your system, because what we're made out of is the same stuff of the earth. So having all of that connected, it also helps you to understand how we are interconnected. And tying this all together with a lot of the themes that I have talked about on this video, like race and racism and religion and all the boxes, the box of politics, the box of the wealthy versus the poor, all of these things that we have created are against our nature. Having a system that tells you that you're better than somebody because you have a few more zeros on your paycheck, or you have a few more letters behind your name, or because you have less melanin in your skin, or because your hair doesn't coil as tightly as someone else's, or because you're affiliated with a different group of people who are considered to be more important than others over there. All of these distinctions separate us from ourselves. Our healing, our sense of wholeness, our sense of power is in community. When we're disjointed and disconnected from ourselves first, you don't have any time for yourself to breathe, to stop, to think, to organize, to meditate, to be. You're disconnected with yourself. You cannot provide the kind of care and love that you want to give to those that you love and to the world. So we're disconnected as individuals, and then we're disconnected in our communities and in the world. All because we have these ideas of what matters. And oftentimes the things that matter, that make our world function because the rules that we created, are things that don't work, that don't flow with us. The stress and the anxiety of constantly working and working, constantly doing all of these things. Technology and the constant stimulation and the constant radiation that we're exposed to, and all the things, these things are against our nature. So it's very important to have an understanding of what it is that we are. And when we understand that who we are and what we are is so much bigger than this moment, I think it can impact how we deal with ourselves, how we feel and think of ourselves, and how we think and feel about other people around us. Because we are truly a family. So that's why it's so important to not stand by and watch people who are a different color suffer, and people who are of a different sex suffer, and people who are of a different religion suffer. Because we are all from the same source. What are we doing? Like, what are we doing fighting like this? But I wanted this video to be empowering. I didn't want it to become a thing where you come away feeling ashamed, but empowered in the understanding that everything that you are comes from something else. And by connecting with the things that you come from, your source, connecting with yourself, being in alignment with what resonates inside of you will be very important and integral in your mental health, in your emotional health, in your relationships. This is why family is important. This is why forgiveness is important. Because all these things cause us to be disjointed and confused in our internal fabric. And then illness creeps in. So understand that we're so much bigger than we can possibly imagine. And we are connected. So take advantage of every opportunity you can to connect. What resonates with your soul? What resonates deep inside? Do that. Do that. And then find yourself being empowered. I just want to leave that with you. I am definitely a complete person. I love to talk about everything, but at the end of the day, I'm a very, very spiritual person, and I'm a very conscious person. And I believe that I don't believe we are so much more than what we can see. Make it a point in your day to look beyond the surface. If when you look into the mirror, the first thing you want to do is criticize what you don't like parts of your body or features of yours that are not your favorite. Focus on looking beyond the surface. Think about who you are and how you function in your world, how you feel about yourself, because that's ultimately who you are. This shell is not. So as long as you're judging yourself by those standards, you're going to judge everybody else the same way. It's about alignment. And we are all interconnected. We are one. Thank you for listening, and take care.